Well, hello again, and welcome again to another informational video. I make these videos to try to keep people up to date on what is going on, and I promised a bunch of friends that I was going to make this video, and I'm making it for this reason to talk to you about a changing world we live in. You know, from day to day, things are constantly changing. If you look at my backdrop, you remember back when Windows 1 came out in 1885? Move my head. 1992, Windows 3, 1, 95, Windows 95. And then the year 2001, XP hit the market. And then, let me see if I can move here, Vista in 2007, and then Windows 7 in 2009, and the list goes on and on. What I plan on doing here right now is I'm just going to blur my background, get rid of that backdrop, but I'm going to share something with you here. Give me 1 minute here and I'll find it here. Oh, let's see here. That's if I can find it here. Yeah, there's a, there it is. Okay. If you're looking at MS-DOS, I remember when PC-DOS was out and then MS-DOS came out. No, that was a big deal, so I jumped on the bandwagon. Now this goes way back, and let me stop my sharing here. And the reason I'm bringing all this out is the fact that a lot of us are, I should say, a lot of you, not myself, are using Windows 10. Windows 11 is out, but a lot of people can't go to Windows 11 because their PCs are not compatible. The reason this is, it's always been said hardware pushes software and software pushes hardware. This is so true. And right now, the software was pushing hardware to change their CPUs and adapt their hardware to Windows 11. Things are getting faster, stronger, and the more power that's required by the operating system, the manufacturers of computers have to increase their capacity on their hardware. Well, there seems to be a problem. You know, we could look at it as a kind of a scam. What a scam is it costs you money. Yes, a lot of people don't want to go out and buy a new computer to run a new operating system. Well, I'm telling you, there's a workaround, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about. First, let me bring in the Mac users out there. The Mac users and the Linux users are not affected by this Windows upgrade. And that's a good thing. And I believe that choice is a good thing also. We all want to work with something that we're familiar with and easy to use. And Windows users found that Windows was a friendly user operating system. I used it for a while, but it's been 25 years since I've really used Windows very much. I tried every version that came out. Of course, I have more than one computer, so I test a lot of things. But I got on the Linux bandwagon some years ago, and I found that it is a very user friendly system because of the fact you have so many choices. You can choose the flavor of Linux that you're using, and you can also choose the desktop environment that you want. So you have the choice of choosing something that really fits you. Now, a lot of people aren't real computer savvy, they're just computer users. Now, with the technology as it changes, we are using more online stuff. I have a few applications that I use that are installed local on my computer. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my desktop a little bit with you, and I'm just going to tell you what I'm using. And then, you have to do your own research and find out and test things. But before I even share my desktop, I want to say this. If you go out and you buy a brand new computer, with a lot of beef, a lot of memory, a lot of storage, fast CPU, all the bells and whistles, you're going to pay for it. Not that it's wrong to pay for something, because you're buying something that somebody developed, worked on, and manufactured. And everybody deserves a wage for their work. Now, there are a lot of older hardware out there it's really good hardware. I'm talking about, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to use one manufacturer, Dell. There's others. There's HP and Toshiba, and there's so many. That's where choice comes in. But Dell had manufactured a lot of computers for the workforce industry. And when they built them, they put in i7 processors, a lot of memory, SSD drives that replace the mechanism, and they're a lot faster. They have different ports, display ports, HDMI, VGA, whatever. Well, it depends on your monitor, what kind of computer you're going to buy. You want to make sure your monitor hooks up to the computer. Well, these computers that Dell produced, these corporations change out computers every so often. So a lot of these computers are out there, and vendors pick them up and they remanufacture them. They're called refurbs, and normally they're pretty good. I buy them, and I buy them for a low cost. Costs are changing, so I'm not going to give you prices, but for $100, $200, you can buy these things, depending on the hardware. By the way, if you noticed, I got captioning on this video. I've gone deaf, so I can't hear, and I can't even hear myself talk. So hopefully I got the sound on if the caption's working. Getting back onto the subject though, you buy these computers and they usually come with like Windows 10, which was the latest out when they were manufactured. And then you can wipe it out and install any operating system you want on it. And before you go out and or download a operating system and replace the Windows operating system, Windows 10 that you're running now, that Windows 11 will not run on this machine, buy one of these machines and set it up with Linux and play around with it. Download different versions, try what you want. Now, a lot of users out there that use Linux like Linux Mint. I tried it. It's okay, and it's a lot like Windows, but I kind of like the Mac operating system, but I don't know it. But I just like the looks of it and the ease of use with the icons. So I went to a Linux that resembles that, but also feels a little bit like Windows. So I'm using the best of both worlds. Now, there is a learning curve. You have to learn a few things. I'm going to give you an example. A lot of these online softwares that run on computers, they run on Mac, Linux, Windows, and so you can use them on anything. You don't have to worry about your operating system. Now, there are some programs that will run strictly on Windows, but there's so many software packages out there for Linux that replace some of these Windows packages and actually even run better as far as I'm concerned. One good example is Photoshop. It's expensive, a lot of people use it. I use GIMP, which is Linux, which is very similar to Photoshop, does the same job. I also use KD Live to edit my videos, and I use OBS, Open Broadcast Software, to record my videos. I also use Zoom to record my videos, which I'm doing now. And these are available on all platforms. All platforms. If you're a sound guy and you work with sound files, there's so many good software out there. And one is Audacity. That's a very good package, and it's cross-platform as well. So you see, operating systems are getting a thing of choice. So now that you're in a dilemma, you got a piece of hardware that's not going to run Windows 11. You got a couple choices. Go out and buy all new hardware with Windows 11. If you want to stay with Windows, that's fine with me. But if you want to save yourself some money, you go out and buy one of these refurbs. In fact, I would suggest if you have anybody in your area that is familiar with Linux and they're friendly enough with you, maybe they'll come over and help you out. Look for advice. There's probably a Linux user group someplace near you that you can contact and tell them that you'd like to give Linux a try if they would be willing to have somebody help you. Or you can go online and watch a lot of videos like I do. All these how-tos out there, there's some wonderful how-tos. There's some pretty good technical advice out there. Okay, with that said, I'm going to jump in here. Well, before I do that, I'm going to move myself out of the way here. And now I'm going to share my screen again. See if I can find it here. Mm. Okay, what you're looking at is my desktop right now. And I'm just going to move this up a little bit here. I've got two captions going. You got to improvise when you're deaf. This down below is like the bar on the Mac. It's got all the icons and all the programs that I use, and it's easy enough to switch. If I want to go to my settings, I just click on this icon. There's all my settings. I can change my network. Whatever. I'm not going to go through this and show you everything, but I'm just trying to show you how friendly it is. Okay. Next, you have this icon with all the dots. I'm going to click on that, and this opens up all my apps. So I can go through on the apps that are not on that bar. Like if I want to do a software update, if I come back one here. If I want to just run LibreOffice, Calc, or Draw, or it's the same as the Microsoft Office, or if I want to play solitaire, whatever, it's all there available for me. All I do is click on it again, it goes away. What else? Let's see. Of course, I've got two monitors, and I'm not going to try to switch monitors, but I can drag and drop things from one to the other. Right now, I've got LibreOffice open. I got a couple documents. So playing around with this, if I go to Windows, I can switch windows. That's my Darby's letters. You can see things are very handy. And it's just like using Windows, but it's Linux. Now, the desktop that I'm using here is Genome. And Genome gives you the option of having this bar. Now, I just want to show you one thing on my appearance. Okay, right now I've got position of the new icons at the bottom right. If I go down here, adjust or hide dock, I can hide the dock, or and that means this dock will go away. Uh, I got it in panel view. I can change that. Notice the bar change goes all the way across. And then I can change the icon size. I'm gonna move this up a little bit here. Right now I got it at the bottom. I can move it over to the left. So now I got the bar along the left side over here instead of on the bottom. I'm gonna move it back down to the bottom. I like it at the bottom. And I like to have it in the non-paneled view. And that looks more like a Mac. These are just a couple things in Linux that I like. Uh, if you're if you're a power user, Linux is a powerful tool. Well, I'm going to stop my sharing. Okay, I'm going to pull this back over here. All right. Well, this is just some information that I'm giving you that you do have choices, and things are changing every day, and you might as well just accept it. Technology yesterday is different than it is today. Not only you hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and I know that there's such controversies about that. I don't really think much about it anymore. I just kind of use what's available for me and what makes my life easier. And I think in the long run, if you think about hardware and software, it's changing our lives in the way we do things. Every day we got to learn something new. I'm a guy that likes to learn things. I hope you do too. I think learning is fun. I know most of my videos are spiritual, talks about learning spiritual things. I try to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world. I do have a podcast. I hope you follow me. And I hope you follow these informational videos that I put out there. I'm here to help you. If you ever have any questions, spiritually or technically, just send me a comment or send me an email or whatever have you, and I'll try to help you out. I've always liked helping people. Well, one last little piece of advice I'm going to give you. We all have the internet in our houses now, and at least most of us. I know we walk around with phones and tablets, and uh, all of this is on the Wi-Fi. But if you're in a permanent location with a desktop, laptop, or whatever, and you got a network port, and you're close to a router, plug in that cable. And because the cable is much faster than the Wi-Fi. I had a problem at the chapel the other day. I was having some trouble with Zoom. People would walk and he'd freeze up. Then the next thing they would be in a different spot. And I knew it was my speed or something. Well, I did a speed check and I found out that with the lightning strike, the port on the computer got fried. So it reverted to the Wi-Fi. And I was only running at about 13 megabytes per second. Well, I bought a little $8.50 adapter, plugged it into the USB port, plugged my network cable back in there, tested my speed, and my speed was about 161 megabytes per second. That's a lot faster than 13. Well, because of that, I fixed my problem on my Zoom. No more delays. You know, these little tips that you hear from people that have had problems, and it's an easy fix, cheap fix. And by the way, I run Linux on my equipment down in the sound room at the chapel. And now you figure this. I'm the deaf guy and I run the sound room. In a way, that's kind of funny. But I do have this young lady, Amalia, and I just want to praise her. She's doing a wonderful job in our sound room. She's kind of taken over for me. I go by meters and indicators where she can actually hear the sound. Great help. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you got a lot out of it. And I hope that as time goes on, that you put your faith and trust in the Lord if you have not done so, and that I'll see you in heaven. And up there, I don't think we're going to need computers. Everything's going to be different. It's going to be wonderful. And if you want to know what it's going to be like, pick up your Bible and read it. God bless. Bye for now.